Before the service, Sevi, I asked you about your earliest memory, and I was absolutely amazed to learn that your earliest memory is from when you were a year and a half, maybe even like a year and a few months. And this is, I think, extraordinary. I learned recently that most people's earliest memory is from the age of 3 or 4. And this is, some people think that they have a memory from the past, but what they really have, and this is the case for me, is they have photos of themselves. And they've been told this story so many times that they internalized. But I checked, and in your case, there are no photos of that memory. So it must be true. And this conversation about memory led me to think, what is memory? And what does it mean to remember? And what do you decide what to remember and what to forget? And the main question is it your decision at all? Because some of the memories we have, we would rather forget. And some of the things that we would like to remember, we don't. So what is memory? So in her book, it's called Night, this philosopher called Etel Adnan, she's a Paris-based Lebanese-American writer and poet and artist. She wrote this: memory and time, both immaterial, are rivers with no banks and constantly merging. Both escape our will, though we depend on them. But measured by whom or by what? The one is inside, the other outside, or so it seems. But is that true? Time seems also buried deep in us, but where? Memory is right here in the head, but it can exit, abandon the head, leave it behind and disappear. Memory is the sanctuary of infinite patience. So is memory produced by us, or is it us? So our memory is linked to who we are, to what we know, our wisdom, and our sense of identity. Memory is like a journal of time inside you. Memory can be either individual or collective. Tonight, I would like to focus not on individual memory, but on collective memory. What do we choose to remember as people, as this group? What do we choose to forget as a people? What is the role of collective memory in the survival and development of Jewish people? So this week and tomorrow, Sevi, you will read this Torah portion. We will read the climax of our collective memory, which is the Exodus from Egypt. Remember, we were slaves in Egypt, and then we were liberated. There was an Exodus. And this word, we, is very important here. We were slaves. We read the book. We don't know whether it happened or not, but we read it as if it's our memory. And as we know, if you have a picture of a story, if you repeat it long enough times, it becomes your memory. So Exodus from Egypt is our collective memory. And I am so glad, Sevi, that you are going to read this, not going to read this but chant, or rather sing, if I understand, in the beautiful melody, beautiful tune of Bendigamos, the Spanish and Portuguese. Partly, I'm glad that you are going to sing it, because it takes away the attention from the meaning of this poem. We will read some of it a bit later. So, Rabbi Akiva Igor, or Igor, I'm not sure how to pronounce, a prominent rabbinic leader of Hungary during the early 19th century, he noticed an interesting aspect of the Song of the Sea. He noticed that the first verse sounds like Az Yashir Moshe. Az Yashir Moshe Ovnei Israel. It means, and he will sing. And Moses will sing in the future tense. The question is, why do we use the future tense for this? And the answer this rabbi gives is really remarkable, because the memory of this song only makes sense if people repeat it in the future. So if you create something that people are not going to repeat in the future, what's the point? In fact, Torah scholars think, and the best way to make sure that people will repeat something is to make a song out of it, or is to create a poem, because it's easier to remember. In fact, Torah scholars think that the earliest part of the Torah and Tanakh are the ones that are written in poems. So tomorrow we will hear one of the earliest Jewish texts in the world. Psalms, or Song of the Sea, or the Song of Ha'azinu at the end of Moses' life, and other poetic parts of Hebrew Bible are likely to be the most ancient texts, the most ancient memories for Jewish people. So let's have a look at what the earliest Jewish people wanted us to remember. So this is the meaning of the first couple of verses of Shirat Hayam. So Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Eternal One. They said, I will sing to the Eternal One, for God has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. Adonai, or the Eternal One, is my strength and mind. God is become my deliverance. This is my God, and I will enshrine God. The God is my father's house, and I will exalt him. The Eternal One, the warrior, Adonai is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has cast into the sea. So this is a triumph song, the song of victory, the glorious past. And at the same time, reading this text today, I think can make and should make people uncomfortable. How can you sing songs when so many Egyptian soldiers in this story are drowning in the sea? And this is exactly what happened. So Jewish people went through the sea, the Egyptian army chased after them, the sea closed. Yes, Jewish people were saved, but the price for saving Jewish people was the death of so many Egyptians. And the famous Midrash, the rabbinic legend or interpretation of this, had this moment when angels surrounding God also started to sing and dance, celebrating the victory of Jewish people. And God said, how dare you sing and rejoice when my children, meaning Egyptians, are dying? I think there's a lot of wisdom in this Midrash. So for many centuries, many countries, and people keep stories about their glorious past, their victories. We have archers, we have architecture, we have songs. praising our past, our heroes who sacrificed everything for collective good. But very few people decided to keep the memory of losses, mistakes, failures. From this perspective, I think the Jewish people is one of a few exceptions. We decided to keep in our memory not only positive, not only victories, but also disasters. Tomorrow is International Holocaust Memorial Day. And there are many other stories that we tell each other, not about winning the war or battle. In a way, the stories we often tell as a Jewish people are often the stories of losers, or of people who were persecuted, oppressed, driven away. But nevertheless, we survived. The story of the Jewish people is therefore the unique story when a loss and a displacement didn't lead to the end of the nation and peoplehood. In fact, in time, all our losses became an inspiration to transform, to become better, a learning opportunity to be the best version of ourselves because we owe it to our past. The best of Judaism we know today did not come from a victory. It came out of destruction. And the lessons we learned from this destruction are invaluable. Today we live in a world where people seriously think that victorious past is more important than lessons from the past. We live in a world where people seriously think that there is a winning party in a war. We keep hearing that weapons can achieve peace. We live in an illusion that strong hand is better than a still, soft-spoken voice. So why? Is that what we want future generations to remember about us? Is that the memory we want to leave to future generations? And I will leave this question unanswered and simply say, Shabbat Shalom. Today we are creating a new memory for one family, for one person who became a bar mitzvah, and I do hope that it will stay with you, Sevi, as a memory for the rest of your life. Shabbat Shalom.